Can y'all see me clear?
Yeah, we got you.
Yep.
Okay.
So I can open it up. My
Yes, sir.
soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. Tonight's reading came from Psalm 62, verses 5 through 8 and verse 12. May the Lord add a reading. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, brother, for that
Amen.
Yes,
Praise
song.
the
sir.
Lord. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Let Us Reason Together broadcast. I am your host. Alongside me is my co-host, Brother James from, we gotta say California now, by way of
Yeah.
California. Recently from Baton Rouge. And we also have reading for us Brother Todd from Baton Rouge. Um, Everybody, if you can, real quick, please click like, comment, and subscribe. Go share this so that everybody can get on the live feed with us and they can feast with us this Sabbath. Um, this evening, we'll be bringing you a lesson entitled All Prophecy Must Be Fulfilled. Again, that's all prophecy must be fulfilled. Okay, all these videos, if you don't catch it from the beginning, you can always go back to the archive and then you can listen to that lesson from the beginning. Bringing us this lesson, starting off is Brother James. We doing a duo, so that means he's gonna bring you part of the lesson. I'm gonna jump in and bring you part, just like we did it the last time. If y'all were available to see our last show. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and dive into this thing, Brother James. He's gonna take us away. And everybody, thanks for tuning in and welcome.
All righty. Thank you, brother Kevin. And thank you, brother Todd, for coming on with us to paint that picture for us this evening.
Yes, sir.
So I want to say greetings as well to everybody. Thanks for joining in to watch our lesson tonight. And bless Sabbath to everybody. And we ask again that you share this video, okay? So just jump on into it. Like he said, the title is All Prophecy Must Be Fulfilled. And we have to do lessons like this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, every now and then, because unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, that too many of us rely on somebody to tell us what's in this Bible. Okay? And as a result, we do these three things. We believe what they say, we repeat what they say, and then even sometimes we defend what somebody has told us that's in this Bible. And it's unfortunate. So
Yes, sir.
instead, what we should be doing is reading this Bible, studying this Bible, and researching it for ourselves so we can do three different things from believing, repeating, and defending what somebody said. You can go to knowing, teaching, and proving what's in this book. Okay?
Yes,
Because
sir,
that's what
brother.
we can do here because we go into it. And I do know that some people say, well, the Bible is hard to understand, especially the King James Version. Well, go let somebody teach you the Bible then. That's going to read it to you and you read along with them. But
Yes,
watch
sir.
us tonight and listen because fortunately, we have this Bible open tonight, and we're gonna read it to you. And we're gonna read the King James. And when we finish, you let us know if you heard anything tonight that we read that was hard to understand out this King James. Okay? Because we're gonna
That's
read it
right.
to you, and it's gonna be sweet as honey. We don't know
That's
how it's
right.
gonna hit the bellies, but
Right.
it's gonna be sweet to the taste. Okay? So,
That's right.
so what we're gonna do this evening is we're gonna dive into this lesson, and we intend to prove that everything that those Old Testament prophets wrote in this Bible is valid, is good. A lot of prophecy they wrote has either already happened and is done, some of it happened and is still ongoing, and some of it has yet to happen. So when people say that Old Testament done away with, hey, it might sound good to you, but go in the book and see if that's the case. That's what we're going to do tonight. They say it's done away with and you don't have to deal with it. Well, we're going to show you tonight that Old Testament prophets wrote some things that we are still waiting on to happen. Okay? It is yet to happen. So let's dive right on in and let's start at Mark chapter 14, brother. Let's go Mark 14 and pick it up at verse 43. Because we're going to jump right on into this thing. Mark 14 and 43. Go ahead and read it, brother.
And immediately while he yet spake, cometh Judas, one of the 12, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves,
Mm-hmm.
from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders.
Okay, so this is clearly when Judas betrayed Jesus the Christ to have him crucified, right?
Right.
So here come the chief priests to get him, to take him before the rest of the council. Now skip down to verse 46, my brother, and continue.
And they laid their hands on him and took him. And one of them that stood by drew a sword and smote a servant of the high priest and cut off his ear.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and with staves to take me?
Go ahead.
I was daily with you in the temple teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and ye took me not.
Go ahead.
But the scriptures must be fulfilled.
They might be fulfilled.
Must be fulfilled.
Jesus said the scripture, which is Genesis to Malachi, okay, because Matthew to Revelation is the testimony. The scripture must be fulfilled, okay? So now, let's go and look at something. Let's go to Matthew 26. Let's go to Matthew 26, because everything that was written back there has to happen, and some of it has not happened, and we're going to show it to you tonight. So don't let nobody trick you. Don't let anybody trick you into saying you don't have to deal with that Old Testament. Because we've all had conversation with people, and the first thing they say, well, is that in the Old Testament or the New Testament? Well, that was in the Bible days.
Right.
Man, let me tell you something. November, this is October the 29th,
Right.
2021.
Yes, sir.
These are Bible days right here.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
That's right, brother.
Because like I always say, hey, man, you tell me when God retired. If he's still alive, you still in Bible days, okay? So now let's go Matthew 26, my brother. Pick it up at verse 14. What does it say?
Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priest.
See, we just read about that in Mark 14. He was the one that betrayed Jesus. Go ahead and read.
And said unto them,
Mm-hmm.
What will you give me? And I will deliver him unto you.
So he's already trying to come up with a price to deliver Jesus to them. Go ahead and read.
And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver.
For 30 pieces of silver. Go ahead and read.
And from that time, he sought opportunity to betray him.
Okay, so now we already see that they agreed to give Judas 30 pieces of silver. Okay, so now let's go into Matthew 27. Let's go on to that next chapter and start at verse 1. 27 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
When the morning was come,
Mm-hmm.
all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor.
Go ahead.
Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders.
So, okay, so once he saw what was happening, he wanted to give those 30 pieces of silver back. But let's see what happened. Go ahead and read.
Saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, what is that to us?
And they said, so what, Judas? Go ahead.
See thou to that.
He said, you worry about that. But go ahead and read.
And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He
What that
cast
got to do
down.
with us?
He cast down the 30 pieces of silver. Where, brother?
In the temple.
He cast them down in the temple. So
Yes,
pay
sir.
close attention to that. That's where he threw them down at. Go ahead and read.
And departed, and went and hanged himself.
Go ahead.
And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, it is not lawful for to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood.
So the chief priest picked up those 30 pieces of silver. Let's see where they put them. Go ahead and read.
And they took counsel and brought them with them the potters took and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in.
Okay, so now they took them 30 pieces of silver and they took it out to the potter's field. Okay. But they got them from the temple because that's where he threw them down at. Let's remember that. So now all this stuff happened, but an Old Testament prophet told you this was going to happen. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 11. And see, that's why we titled this lesson, All Prophecy Must Be Fulfilled. Okay, so let's go Zechariah 11 and pick it up at verse 10. Zechariah 11, my brother, and 10. Go ahead and read it.
And I took my staff, even beauty, and cut it asunder, that I might break my covenant which I had made with all the people.
Go ahead.
And it was broken in that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so the poor of the flock that waited upon me knew that it was the word of the Lord.
Uh-huh.
And I said unto them, if you think good, give me my price.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver.
So this is the Lord talking through the pen of Zechariah. He's saying, that was my price that I was weighed for, 30 pieces of silver. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto me,
Mm-hmm.
cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized out of them.
Y'all see that? He said cast it to the potters. We already read in Matthew that them coins got cast in the potter's field by way of the temple where Judas threw them down at. But go ahead and read.
Yes, sir.
And I took the 30 pieces of silver and cast them to the potter
And cast them to the potter. Go ahead.
in the house of the Lord.
Y'all see that? From the house of the Lord is where they came from. But listen, Zechariah wrote this stuff, and we saw it happen later. Now, I want y'all to understand something. Zechariah was a contemporary of some of those other prophets, like Daniel. Okay, he was around way back, hundreds of years before this stuff actually happened, but he wrote it and told you about it. So that goes to enforce the title of this lesson, y'all, that if those prophets wrote it, it is good. Okay, all prophecy must be fulfilled. And you can come back and just read this whole book of Zechariah on your own, and you'll see a whole lot of stuff that he wrote. Some of it has happened already, some of it is going on, and some of it is yet to come, especially that 14th chapter. That hasn't happened yet. Okay, so don't let anybody fool you telling you this Old Testament is not to be dealt with, because the Old Testament is the movie, the New Testament is the trailer. Okay, please believe it. So now, but let's back up, Brother Todd. Let's stay in Zechariah 11, back up to that verse 4 and read that. Go ahead and read it.
Thus said the Lord my God,
Mm-hmm.
feed the flock of the slaughter,
Yes.
whose possessors slay them,
Mm-hmm.
and hold themselves not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
Now, this prophecy that Zechariah wrote, this is a whole different something else in the same chapter now. In the same chapter that we read about Jesus, we talking about something else in this verse right here. Now, what he wrote right here is still happening right now today. Is Israel still getting killed and ain't nobody being held guilty for it?
Yes, sir.
It's happening right now today.
Yes, sir,
Look,
brother.
hey, look, George
Yes, sir.
Floyd was an anomaly, okay? That don't happen too many times.
Right.
Israel get killed, police get off. Israel kill Israel and get a light sentence, okay? So look, then
That's right,
it said, you see this, brother Kevin, it said your possessors, that means somebody own you. They'll kill you and then
That's
hold
right.
themselves not guilty, right? And then they'll say that somebody's even selling you. Right now today, brothers and sisters, Israel's still being bought and sold. Right now today. I saw a thing last year that over there on the them northern countries that border the Mediterranean over there on the continent of what we call Africa, which the Bible referred to as land of Ham, they still selling our people. They still selling us, y'all. So this prophecy that
That's
he
right.
wrote, you see that? It's still happening now. And even this part right here, the last part of verse 5, he said, your own preachers pity you not, because they don't even tell you that you Israel. They tell you a Gentile. Then they tell you don't have to keep the law. Then they tell you you can eat whatever you want to. Then they tell you that the Old Testament done away with. They telling you everything to get you cut off. They're telling you and teaching you to exercise no control, no
That's right.
discipline, live your life lawlessly with no rules. And they'll tell you them laws of God are done away with until somebody break the laws on them. God's law say we can't steal, right, bro, Kevin? Right?
That's right, brother.
Right.
But what if
That's
somebody
right.
go steal some of his stuff? He calling the police.
That's right.
The
Right.
in God's law say,
And
huh?
calling them a thief.
Yes, sir. Gonna call you
And
a thief
calling
if you
them a
stealing stuff.
thief.
Right. And gonna probably call your mama something too. Then if you go and put your hands on his wife, he got a problem with that. But God's law say don't commit adultery, right?
That's right.
See? Then if
That's
you
right.
kill his son, the law say thou shalt not kill. But if you kill his son, he got a problem with you. See, they'll tell you all this stuff, not realizing what they're saying until somebody break God's laws on them. Now they got a real problem, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're showing you is Zechariah wrote that you were going to get killed. Nobody was going to be guilty for it. You was going to get bought and sold, and ain't nobody going to have no pity on you. Say your own preachers don't have no pity on you because they too busy picking your pockets. Got 4 churches on one corner, and y'all know I ain't lying.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes,
So
sir.
now, so now let's go look at something about this stuff here that Zechariah wrote. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 2. Let's go Lamentations 2. He said you're gonna be killed and nobody being held guilty for that. And we see it all the time. We see it all the time. No need to even dig into it. We just know it's the truth. Okay. Lamentations 2, brother Todd. Let's pick it up at that first verse. Lamentation. Let me see. What did Siobhan say? Oh yeah, if you kill his son, he gonna say you going to hell. Right. But what's the problem if it ain't no law? If the law been done away with, you see,
Right.
they'll tell you ain't no law. It's been done away with, and this and that until you break the law, God's laws against them. What if you lie on them? If you bear false witness on them, God's laws say you can't bear false witness on your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if somebody lie on you, you got a problem with them. If they steal your stuff, you got a problem. If they lay their hands on your wife, you got a problem. If they kill your child, you got a problem. If they lusting over your
Yes,
Cadillac, you
sir.
got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it's unfortunate that people listen to this stuff and ride with it, but they can't prove any of that. Okay. So now, because God's commandments are for all people in every generation, and they are forever. Okay. They stand forever. So look, Lamentations 2 and 1, my brother. Go ahead and read it.
How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger?
Y'all see that? See, that's how you getting killed and ain't nobody being held guilty for it, because the Lord got a cloud of anger hanging over you. I mean, and it's hanging over you too. Move in a community where a shopping mall is thriving, and 5 years later to see what happened to that mall once the neighborhood fill up with Israel. It's going to turn to a medical mall because all the stores going to ride out and go somewhere else trying to get away from you. Okay. Way out to the suburb, brother Kevin. Go ahead and read, brother.
And cast down from heaven unto the
Mm-hmm.
earth the beauty of Israel,
Yeah, he done cast down the beauty of Israel. Go ahead.
and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger.
Go ahead.
The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitations of Jacob,
Uh-huh.
and have not pity. He
Mm-hmm.
hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah.
Y'all see that? He said he didn't have any pity on you, Israel. And when you look out your window and when you get on social media and just turn on the news, it looks like we are the only people on this planet that has no pity coming from anybody, anywhere. I went in a store today and I picked up a bottle of juice, cranberry juice, and then I realized with the other stuff I was going to get that I needed a little basket. So I went and got one of them little green baskets. Y'all better believe them people stared me down when I went up by that door. They thought I was trying to walk out there with that juice. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, he had phone in there, 9-1. If you walk out that door, I'm gonna hit that one. You see what I'm saying? Because
yes,
you
sir.
see what I'm saying? So look, go ahead and read, brother.
He hath brought them down to the ground. He
Mhm.
hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof.
Yes, he did. So these Old Testament prophets wrote this stuff, and it's still going on right now in 2021, and it's going to be like that until the Lord come back. So buckle up, Israel. Skip down to verse 4, my brother, and continue.
He hath bent his bow like an enemy.
Ooh, y'all see that? It said the Lord bent his bow at us like he's our enemy. Go ahead and read.
He stood with his right hand as an adversary.
Ooh, go ahead.
And slew all that were pleasant to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion.
Uh-huh.
He poured out his fury like fire.
Guess what? It was literal fire too when he had Nebuchadnezzar come in there. And then later on, when the Roman general Titus, they set the place on fire. Okay?
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead and read. Go ahead and read.
The Lord was as an enemy. He hath swallowed up Israel.
Do
He
y'all
hath-
see that, brothers and sisters? He said the Lord was an enemy. He swallowed up Israel. This is Jeremiah the prophet writing this here, and it's still going on today. It still looks like God is our enemy. Okay? We still listen. You when you get your house appraised, you better get you a Gentile friend to come over there and make it look like it's his house. You get the value of your house be about 30,000, 40,000 more because they trying to give you nothing to get everything from you. You hear what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all the truth now, because I tried to buy a place out here and the man saw us, and then he gonna tell us that somebody offered him way more than we offered him. Can we match them people? And we said no, we not gonna match them. That's like going in the store and I'm gonna get me a 6-pack of beer and they say it's $4. When I get to the register, you say, yeah, we know it's tagged for 4, but can you give us 8 for it? No, I'm not. I'm gonna put it back. Matter of fact, you put it back in the cooler. I'm out of here. So that's what he tried to do. He tried to black tax us, man. Okay. But the Lord set it up like that. He got people handling you like that because our ancestors made some grievous errors. And we are just paying for it, ladies and gentlemen. And that's just the reality of it. Where you at, Brother Todd?
In the middle of fire.
Go ahead and read it.
He hath swallowed up all her palaces.
Yes.
He hath destroyed his strongholds, and have increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation.
Ain't that something? He said he has increased in us mourning and lamentation. We always mourning. We always crying. Somebody young in our community is always getting killed. Everybody, we don't look. You don't know anybody that haven't lost somebody young in their family. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? We always crying. We always mourning. We always in lamentation, and we always in Lord have mercy. But like Brother Bowie always say, he had that mercy when he had this Bible written. You need to get in it. You need to adjust your life, start living according to it. Then maybe you can, some of that times of grieving can pass by you. You see? But look, look, these Old Testament prophets call this stuff, and we are still currently, and I'm talking right now, looking at these conditions. Let's go to Leviticus 26, and then Brother Kevin, I'm gonna let you get some. All right, I'm gonna sit down for a few minutes.
You wanted that 17, or you want?
Yeah. Read that 17 real quick. What did it say?
The Lord hath done that which he hath devised.
Yes,
he hath fulfilled his word.
You see that? You see that, brothers? It said he fulfilled his word. Go ahead and read.
That he had commanded in the days of old.
In the days of old, he threatened Israel. He said, if you fumble the ball, I'm going upside your head. And we fumble. So upside the head, oops, upside the head. Okay? Go ahead and finish that verse, brother.
He hath thrown down.
Mm-hmm.
and have not pity.
Yep.
He have caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee.
Y'all see that? Said he didn't have no pity on us and causing our enemies to rejoice over us. And they still doing it right now. Are you finished with that verse, brother?
He have set up the horn of thine adversaries.
You see that? And then he set your adversaries up. A lot of times our adversaries out here, they think they set themselves up. But the Lord set them up
That's right.
Mhm.
in addition to knocking us down, okay? He set you up. But I ain't mad at you. I'm not mad at you. Let's go Leviticus 26 because it was just written back there. Jeremiah wrote in Lamentations that the Lord kept his word that he spoke of in the days of old. So let's go back to some old days where he spoke it. Let's let Moses tell you about it. Let's go Leviticus 26. Leviticus 26 and 13. Because these Old Testament prophets wrote things that has happened already, that's currently going on, and that's still yet to come. We haven't seen it yet. Okay? Daniel told you about the
Amen.
great tribulation. We haven't seen that yet. And Jesus
No,
told
sir.
you in Matthew 24, you better go read that, Daniel. If you better read it and understand it.
That's right.
But we're lazy as human beings. We'll go to our job and learn everything about that job. We can tell you who sat at that desk 5 years ago. We can tell you all the rules and regulations. If you're working at Home Depot, I can tell you where the lumber is. I can tell you where the hardware. I can tell you where the tools are. Okay. I can tell you where the sheetrock and where the paint is. Okay. But then you've been in church 50 years. You can't tell me how to get to the book of Micah in the Bible. You understand me? But you
That's
want to argue with me about what the preacher told you, and you ain't read the book yourself. Leviticus 26, brother. Pick it up at verse 13. 26:13. Go ahead and read it.
I am the Lord your God, which brought
Mm-hmm.
you forth out of the land of Egypt, that ye
Mm-hmm.
should not be their bondmen. And I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you go upright.
So the Lord is declaring what he did. He said, I brought you out of there to make you go upright, brought you out in the wilderness and introduced my laws and statutes to you, and you were supposed to teach them to the rest of the world. Did you
yes,
do that?
sir. No,
Did we
sir.
do that, brother Kevin?
No, not at all, brother.
We didn't do that. We went to professors. Us, the professors, went to the second graders and let them teach us.
Teach
Second
us.
graders can't teach professors. If they do, everything get turned upside down. That's why the world upside down. The
That's
teachers
right, brother.
walked away from their job. Go ahead and read, brother.
But if you will not hearken unto me, and
Hmm.
will not do all these commandments,
Now y'all see that he threw that if in there. But if you won't listen and do all these commandments, go ahead and read.
and if you shall despise my statutes,
Hmm.
or if your soul abhor my judgments, so
Hmm.
that you will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant.
And I'm telling y'all right now, everything he just said that we did all of that. We despised it, we hated the judgments, and we didn't do the commandments. In fact, we hate them, and everybody you run into telling you we don't have to keep them no more. Okay, but go ahead and read. So the Lord say, if you do these things, this what's gonna happen. Go ahead and read.
I also will do this unto you. I
Mm-hmm.
will even appoint over you terror, consumption,
Ooh,
and the burning aid.
do y'all see
That
that? He said, I'm going to appoint these things over you. Now, this is Old Testament prophecy. Does it look like the appointment of these things being on us is over?
not even
Huh?
No,
close.
sir.
No, sir.
Does it look like they're over?
No.
Not at
They're,
all.
st- they're still going on. Go ahead and read.
That shall consume the eyes and
Mm-hmm.
cause sorrow of heart. And you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it.
Go ahead.
And I will set my face against you,
Mm.
and you shall be slain before your enemies.
Uh-huh.
They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you.
Do y'all see that, ladies and gentlemen? The Lord said, the people that hate you, I'm going to have them reigning over you, ruling over you. And y'all know it smells like that every day, and everywhere you go, everybody hates you. Everybody hates you.
Hmm.
You ain't got no banks, huh?
That's right.
You don't
No,
own
sir.
car manufacturing companies. You don't own Amazon Israel. You don't own any of these major places that can give people places of employment. Okay. But it said, and then you ain't running no governments nowhere. The only place on the planet we running the government is one of the probably the worst place you can be, and that's Haiti. And y'all know what the Lord did to that spot, because we over there running it, drinking chicken blood and doing all these other abominations. So look, he
That's
said,
right, brother.
you see what I'm saying? And you don't want to be there. You do not want to be there. Watch this. He said, and they shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursue it. Y'all know who the only people on the planet that run when ain't nobody chasing them? Go out to the park to where a lot of people out there picnicking, and then just have three brothers break out running. Everybody else gonna run with them, okay?
Everybody go just...
Am I lying? Hey, look, the
No,
people in the
sir.
audience, y'all know I'm not lying. If three people just break out running, everybody else gonna run, and ain't nobody even chasing you. And they could just be doing it. Say, let's just take off running and see how many people follow after us. And you'll just take off
That's
running.
right.
But that's you. Don't nobody else do that. Everybody else be trying to say, well, what's going on? Why are they running? We don't do that. We see them run, we just run. But ain't nobody pursuing you. This fits. But what verse? That was in 17?
Yeah.
Skip down 24 and read it.
Then will I also walk contrary unto you,
Mm-hmm.
and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins.
See, nobody else on the planet get that but us. We get punished 7 times for our sin. Everybody else commit a crime, they get probation or get off. They get compassion and everything. If it even looks like you did a crime, and even if you didn't do it, and it could be something real minor, they gonna say, well, he was smoking weed when he was 12. And you could be 45. You understand what I'm saying? They go way back to just look for anything. Okay? No sympathy on you, no compassion, because the Lord ain't got no pity on you. But what I'm showing you is the Old Testament prophet wrote it in the days of old, still happening right now. Go ahead and read, brother.
And I will bring a sword upon you,
Mm-hmm.
and shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant.
Because you dropped the covenant and you broke it, and the Lord done brought that sword on us. Go ahead and read.
And when ye are gathered together within your cities, I
Mm-hmm.
will send the pestilence among you.
Y'all see that? And y'all know we live in the cities. Then he said, I'm going to bring killing over there in the city where you hide in. Go ahead and read.
And ye shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy.
And you're going to be delivered into the hand of your enemy. Skip down to 33 and read it.
And I will scatter you among the heathen, and I will draw out a sword after you, and your
Mm-hmm.
land shall be desolate, and your cities waste.
And guess what? He did scatter us among all the nations. You can't go nowhere and we're not there. We're there. All you got to do is look for the one who's mopping the floor. That's us, the shoe shiners, okay? We are there. So this stuff is still happening, y'all. Skip down to 36 and read it, brother.
And upon them that are left alive of you, I will
Mm-hmm.
send a faintness into their hearts,
Mm-hmm.
in the lands of their enemies.
And we all in the land of our enemies, and we scatter everything. Go ahead and read.
And the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them,
And you hear a leaf shaking and you take off running. Go ahead and read.
and they shall flee, as
Mm-hmm.
fleeing from a sword, and they shall fall when none pursue it.
Go ahead.
And they shall fall one upon another, as it were before a sword, when none pursue it. And ye shall have no power to stand before your enemies.
And we don't have no power to stand before our enemies. And you always hear people, I'll just be glad when we can come together as a community. Man, if I hear that one more time, ain't no coming together.
That's
Only
right.
coming together you got is with this Bible right here. That's the only coming together you got. Okay?
That's right.
Come together and get your book, read it, and adjust your life to live according to that. That's your only safe haven. That's the only way the Lord can tell you, like he had the prophet right, he'll be a little sanctuary to you. Okay?
That's right, brother.
So I went here to show us, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, that these Old Testament prophets wrote some things that has already happened. Like we saw that example with Judas with the 30 pieces of silver, and they wrote some stuff that's still going on right now today, 2021, and they wrote it 3,000 years ago. And then in Moses' case, almost for like 4,000 years ago. Okay,
Yes,
so now
sir.
what you got, brother Kevin?
Okay. Praise God. Let's pick it up now. Let's pick it up in Revelations, the 19th chapter. Because all the brother is speaking about is exactly what the title say. All prophecy must be fulfilled. You got some present things going on, past, you see past history, and then you see future. But right now, let's look at something because this thing that James pointed out to a lot of is talking about Israel, and Israel was married to Jesus. And guess what? We divorced. He divorced us. And then guess what? This prophecy is still talking about this same thing. Let's go look at this. Revelation 19, we're going to read one verse. We're going to read that 10th verse. And we're going to dive into this some more. Revelation 19, pick it up at verse 10, Brother Todd. Read that for me.
And I fell at his feet to worship him.
Yes,
and he
sir.
said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren.
He said, I'm your fellow servant and of thy brethren. Go ahead and read.
That have the testimony of Jesus.
He got the
God.
what? He got the testimony of Jesus.
The testimony of Jesus.
Go ahead and read. What else?
Worship God. For
Worship
the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy.
Oh, that's what this prophecy is.
Yeah.
It's about Jesus.
That's right.
The testimony of this guy. Let's go on over to Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, because we still want to figure some things out here. Just like James was pointing out and telling us, look, man, it's gonna be a bad, we get the bad end of the stick because of what? What our ancestors chose when they had, guess what? They had the right to choose that which was good and which kept us in the land. But now we suffering. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, and let's pick it up at verse 15. Deuteronomy 18 and verse 15. All prophecy must be fulfilled for those that's just tuning in. Go ahead and read, brother, verse 15, then we're going to skip.
The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken.
He said, like unto me. You better listen to this guy. He says he going to raise him up, and he going to be just like I am. You're going to see them same similarities, and this guy's going to wield the power of God. Skip down to verse 18 and read, brother.
I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth. And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass.
So this guy's going to speak what the Lord command him, not his own. He ain't going to bring his own agenda, right?
That's right.
Right.
No, sir. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require of him.
He said, I'm going to take that belt and I'm going to whoop your behind at them last days if you don't listen. Go ahead and read.
But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die.
Even that prophet shall die if he speak some things that he ain't supposed to, and he dealing with other gods. Go ahead and read.
If thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet...
how should we know if this thing is true? How should we know if this thing is true or not? Go ahead and read.
When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously.
So now, go ahead.
Thou shalt not be afraid of
Go
him.
ahead. Now he just pointing out what a prophet should do if he coming in the name of the Lord. He ain't gonna have you breaking no commandments, and he ain't gonna have you serving no other gods. He gonna speak what thus said the Lord, right? We already read that the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus. That's what the book said, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go look at something, because Jesus is gonna ask his apostles a question. Matthew, the 16th chapter, to see where our heads are. Do you know who I am? Do you know what's going on?
And you know what else Moses told him, bro, Kevin? You know what else Moses told him right there in Deuteronomy? If a prophet of the Lord speak, it's gonna come to pass.
Yes, sir. Just like what we about to read about this prophet. Because some people like to say he never existed.
Mm.
So we about to see some of this stuff here. 16 and pick it up at verse 13. Go ahead and read.
When Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" And they said,
I want to
"Some
know
say,"
what they say.
and they said,
Go ahead.
some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elias, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets.
It didn't say nothing about no Muhammad or nobody else did it.
Nope.
It didn't say
No,
nothing
sir.
about no Buddha did it.
Nope.
No, they quoting everybody that we read in the Old Testament, like James started out saying in the beginning. But go ahead and read.
He said unto them, "But whom say ye that I am?" And,
Uh-oh.
and Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living
Yes.
God."
Uh-huh.
And Jesus answered and said unto him, "Blessed art thou, Simon Barjona, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven.
That's
And
why a lot of people don't have understanding, because the Lord have to open up that.
That's
He
right.
got to give you that understanding.
Mhm.
That's why
Yep.
they kicking at the book,
Mhm.
talking about who wrote this, who wrote that, why it ain't in there. If it's not in there, it's because the Lord didn't want it in there. But
Right.
now back up to chapter 5. Same book, chapter 5. Let's look at what Jesus is going to say out of his own mouth. Let's Matthew 5, and we're going to pick it up at verse 17. 5 and verse 17. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to
Uh-huh.
fulfill. For verily I say unto you,"
Oh, he said, wait a minute. So he said, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have
Mhm.
not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Yeah.
That's the very
Right.
first thing we think in our mind as he came and he took the laws off the table.
That's
He
right.
said, no,
That's the
I
first
ain't
thing
do
they
that. I
teach you.
came.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He said, I come to fulfill. But go ahead and read.
But
For
hold on,
verily
bro,
I
Kevin.
say,
Bro, Kevin, can I ask you a question real quick? At the
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
end of that verse where Jesus said he came to fulfill, what the question is, what did he come to fulfill? That's the question.
According to Luke, the 24th chapter, he came to fulfill all things concerning himself. Ain't that what the book say?
He
that's
came
it.
to fulfill that prophecy. Yes, sir. But
Right.
some people say, well, he fulfilled the
Okay.
law. It's done away with. That's what they tell you. He fulfilled prophecy, brothers and sisters, and he still have some more to fulfill in his God stead, okay? He fulfilled all the stuff in
That's
his
right.
flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
Still got some more to do that the Old Testament prophet told you about.
That's right. But go ahead and read, brother. Verse 18.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
Uh-oh. So somebody out here lying, because
Mm-hmm.
Jesus say one thing, they saying another.
Yep.
That means you need to run from that preacher who called himself a prophet or an apostle in these last days. You need to run. But guess what? We're going to take it a step further. Go over to John, the 5th chapter. Let's go to John, the 5th chapter, because John finna speak on this same matter. And he finna tell us exactly what Jesus said out of his mouth. John chapter 5, and we're going to pick it up at verse 41. 5 and verse 41. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
I receive not honor from men.
Okay, skip down to verse 43 and read.
I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive.
And that's exactly what Moses told you to watch out for in Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter. If they come in another name and doing this and talking about different gods, this guy didn't do that. He came in his Father's name, which is Jesus.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
And today, everybody got a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. And he said, no, that's the name I came in. But skip down to verse 46
For had you
and read
believed
that.
Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me.
Moses did what? He wrote of Jesus Christ.
That's right.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 18 was just a snippet. James finna put more on the table, and so am I, and show you that he did write of this guy. But he said he wrote of me, right? Go ahead and read one more.
But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words?
That's right. If you can't believe his writings, how you gonna sit up there and say out of your mouth, I believe everything Jesus said. I believe he the Son of God. If you believe that, then you should be dealing with that Old Testament to the law and to the testimony.
That's
If they
right,
speak
brother.
not according to these words, is because there is no light in them.
That is right.
That's what he said. So now, let's get on over to Matthew, the 24th chapter, and let's look at something that he put out there, and let's see if this stuff came to pass. Because he said it would have to, right?
Right.
Yep.
Let's look at this Matthew, the 24th chapter, and verse 1. Because James was talking about this a little earlier, about or read about it over there in Leviticus. So now, Matthew 24, we'll pick it up at verse 1. Let's see what that question is. Verse 1 and 2, we're going to read these two verses. Go ahead.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus
Yes,
said unto
sir.
them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Wait a minute. He talking about the temple, right?
Right.
He said, guess what, man? It ain't going to be one stone that's going to be left upon another when this time period come along. James quoted it, but we're going to look at a little bit more of what Jesus is saying about this particular time. Let's go over to Luke, the 19th chapter. We're going to let them tell the story. We just going to read the book. That's how you keep from messing up. Read the Bible.
Keep your foot out your mouth like that.
Yeah. Read that book. That brother just got through reading all them scriptures. And somebody that may have never heard this should be very, very inquisitive now of what is going on. But Luke, the 19th chapter and verse 41. Luke 19 and verse 41. Go ahead and read.
And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, if thou hast known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For the days shall come upon thee, that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side.
Wait a minute, this is going to happen. He said, for the days shall come upon thee. The Lord talk about, that's how he talk when you know he's talking about future. He says, shall, in that day, in those days, etc., etc. That's how he talk. But go ahead and read one more, brother.
And shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another.
Yes.
Because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation.
Oh, you didn't read the book.
Nope.
You said what Moses and Daniel and the rest of them talking about ain't got nothing to do with me. All I have to do is sow a seed. And prosperity is going to be on my side. Sometimes that's what we say. But now let's go over to the 21st chapter. Let's go over to the 21st chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 21. 21st chapter and verse 21. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too.
So now listen, he's letting them, he giving them the heads up before this thing even happened. He said, look, the second that you get ready to see these things happening, he said, you better leave. And if you're on the outside, don't come in. Go ahead and read. What else?
For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
That all things which are what?
Written.
Written may be fulfilled. Jesus is dealing with what's written.
Yes,
He
sir.
ain't talking off the top of his head.
Mm-mm.
He said, what's written? Go ahead and read. What else?
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
Yes, sir.
And they shall
Woo,
fall.
great distress and wrath upon this people. He ain't say everybody. He said this people. Go ahead and read.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Whoa, now Jesus said all that. Is this anywhere that we can read and find? Of course, history brought this out. Let's go look at something in the last 2 million years, page 87, and we're going to read up under the title, Faith Survives the Dispersion. Faith survives the dispersion.
Excuse me, bro, Kevin.
I gotta get my book. I can get my book real quick.
Bro, Kevin, I don't have mine with me.
Go ahead.
Let me
Okay, well, go ahead, Todd. Get yours then. Okay. So now, James, if you wanna touch on some things that was been brought out already, brother, go ahead while we wait.
Oh no, I just wanted to point out that when you hit that spot where Jesus said, he's talking about the things that were written that they have to be fulfilled. You have to understand there was no book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Acts and Hebrews in this day that Jesus was walking around talking. The only thing you had was what we call scripture, which is Genesis to Malachi, Old Testament book. All these other things were either being written at the time or they were written later on. The scripture,
that's right,
what Jesus referred to when he was walking around, Genesis to Malachi. And he was saying the things that was written in there, they gonna have to be fulfilled. And we just have to keep in mind tonight, brothers and sisters, some of those things written by these Old Testament prophets, we are still waiting on them to happen. They have not happened yet. That's the point of tonight's lesson. But you got the book, Brother Todd?
Yes,
sir.
That's a good summary, Brother James. Right on. We just want to read that faith. Yeah.
Last 2 million years, page 87. Faith survives the dispersion. The crucifixion of Jesus about AD 30 did not end Jewish resistance to the Roman occupation. In 70, when the country was again in a state of revolt, Jerusalem, the holy city, became the core of the resistance to the Romans. Titus, the son of Emperor Vespasian, proceeded to lay siege to Jerusalem.
Wait a minute now. Real quick. Ain't that what we read that Jesus said was going to happen in Luke 19, as well as 21, and as well as Matthew the 24th chapter? Because the apostles asked them that question. It was 3 or 4 of them that was with them.
Right.
But go ahead and read.
The city fell, and the inhabitants were enslaved in their thousands and dispersed throughout the Mediterranean world. This was the first dispersion, and worse was to follow. Continual insurrection.
And worse was to follow. Go ahead.
Continual insurrections and revolts against Roman rule led to the total destruction of Jerusalem in 135. The city was renamed Aelia Capitolia, and all Jews were prohibited from entering it. A second and more important dispersion now took place, and the whole of Judea was renamed Palestine. The later history of the Jews belongs in part to that of all the countries throughout the world into which Jewish communities spread. Yet Yet, despite their
Yes, sir.
dispersion or diaspora, and despite their persecution, the strength of their religion, and the hope that Jerusalem would one day become again the Jewish religious center, enabled the Jews to retain a national identity wherever they found themselves.
Look at that. The book is plain, the book is clear, and it makes its own point. All we have to do is
Right.
just teach the thing, read it, and make sure history backed up what Jesus said. So is he a legit prophet? Heck yeah.
Yes,
The
sir.
brother just brought out some prophecy, and it came to pass. Where we at today, in the four corners of the earth, east, west, north, and south.
But you know
So when
what?
we
That
saying west side, south side, east side, and north side, that's where we at. But what you gonna say, James? Go ahead.
oh no, that never mind. We'll just proceed.
Okay. So now let's move. We're gonna turn this back on over to you now, James.
Okay, well look,
We're
let's
gonna
let
let you get back on the mic.
okay, well let's go look at something else that the Old Testament prophet wrote that came to pass. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 7.
Yes,
2
sir.
Samuel 7, and we're gonna look at something that he was talking about way back here. That's why Jesus told you when he was standing in the flesh, he said, search them scriptures. You in them you think you have eternal life. He say, but
Eternal
they are
life.
they that
They
testify of me. You
That's
can look
right.
all over this Old Testament and see Jesus everywhere. Even in the book of
That's
Job,
right. That's right, brother.
you can see him everywhere. So now let's go 2 Samuel and see him. Chapter 7, my brother. And pick it up at verse 4. Go ahead and read it.
And it came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying,
Mm-hmm.
Go and tell my servant David, Thus said the Lord, Shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in?
He said, look, go tell him, are you going to build a house for me to dwell in? Skip on down to verse 8 and continue.
Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus said the Lord of hosts,
Mm-hmm.
I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel.
So look, he just backtracking, replaying how he chose David to be king of Israel. But in these other verses, he's telling him, you got too much blood on your hands. I don't want you to build me a spot, okay? So now skip on down to verse 12 and continue.
And when thy days be fulfilled, and
Mm-hmm.
thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall
Mm-hmm.
proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom.
So look, he's telling David,
Ooh,
he said, when you dead and gone and sleeping with your fathers, notice he didn't say when I bring you up to heaven, okay? He said, when you
that's right,
sleeping with
brother.
your forefathers, okay? He said, I will establish his kingdom. Go ahead and read.
He shall build an house for my name, and
Mm-hmm.
I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever,
For how long?
forever.
Now, man can't live forever. So we ain't talking
Forever.
about one of David's
That's right.
sons like that. We talking about another kind of son of David. We gonna read it. Go ahead and read.
I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If
Mm-hmm.
he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men.
Go ahead.
But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul,
See,
whom
the
I put.
Lord is saying he took his mercy from Saul, and we saw that, okay? They say it must be some evil
Yes, sir.
spirits or trouble in that brother Saul when the Lord took his spirit off of him.
That's right.
But you see that? But he said, of this one that's going to come out your bowels, David, he said, I'm not going to take my mercy from him. Go ahead and read.
Whom I put away before thee,
Go ahead.
and thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy
Mm-hmm.
throne shall be established forever.
So he's saying your throne gonna be established forever, David. So we got to see who this is that's gonna sit on David's throne forever. That's a descendant of David. Okay. So now let's go into Psalm
That's
chapter
right.
132. See, Nathan the priest was talking to David. So now let's see what David had to say about it. Let's go Psalm 132. These are Old Testament prophets, and what they wrote must come to pass because Peter
To
told you
pass.
that we have a more sure word of prophecy. The prophets wrote it, it's going to happen. Bank on it.
That's right.
Psalm 132, brother. Let's start at verse 11. What did it say?
The Lord hath sworn in truth unto David.
Mm-hmm.
He will not turn from it.
Y'all see that? He said the Lord has sworn in truth to David. He's not going to turn from what he swore to David. What we just read that Nathan told David back here where Samuel had it written. Way back there, okay? He will not turn from it. Go ahead and read.
Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne.
So the Lord is telling David from the fruit of David's body, the Lord said, I'm going to sit on your throne, David. Skip down to 13 and read it.
For the Lord hath chosen Zion,
He chose what, brother?
Jerusalem.
He
Zion.
chose Zion, which is Jerusalem.
Zion.
Go ahead and read.
He hath desired it for his habitation.
The Lord said he desired Jerusalem for his habitation. Go ahead and read.
This is my rest forever.
Well, he said, this is my rest forever. Go ahead.
Here will I dwell,
Mm-hmm.
for I have desired it.
So now David said the Lord told him that. Yes, sir, Melissa. Yes, ma'am, Melissa. Jesus comes in a
That's
volume
right.
of this book. So now let's go into Luke chapter 1 and pick
Book.
it up at verse
Yes.
30. So Samuel wrote it that Jesus was going to sit on David's throne. David wrote it that Jesus going to sit on his throne. Now let's go let Gabriel tell Mary before she even got pregnant that her son, he going to tell her what to name him and going to tell him where he going to sit. And if you want to know where David's throne
That's
is,
right.
just go back to Psalm and go to chapter 122 and it'll tell you.
Teach,
But
brother.
so now
Teach. Yes, sir.
So let's go Luke 1 and pick it up at verse 30, brother. Go ahead and read it.
And the angel said unto her,
Mm-hmm.
Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus.
So he's giving her the name. You gonna call him Jesus? Go ahead.
He shall be great,
Mm-hmm.
and shall be called the Son of the Highest.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
Y'all see that? It said Jesus gonna sit on David's throne. He say of his father David. Remember how we read back here in 2 Samuel chapter 7? He Nathan told David, out of your bowels. You see that? So
That's
he's
right.
saying
That's right.
one of your descendants. But most people think when they read that he's talking about Solomon, because Solomon actually built the temple after David died and Solomon took the throne. He built the temple, right? But
Yep.
what Nathan
It
was
wasn't
talking
forever.
about, right. Solomon's temple wasn't forever. That thing got torn down then, and Ezra and Nehemiah them had to come back and Zerubbabel and build it, and then Nebuchadnezzar came and tore the thing down. You see what I'm saying? But
Yes,
so
sir.
when he's talking forever, we talking about when Jesus sit on it, which has not happened yet. Go ahead and read, brother.
And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever.
Do y'all see that? When he sit on that throne, Jesus sit on David's throne, he's gonna reign over the house of Jacob forever. Go ahead and read.
And of his kingdom
Mhm.
there shall be no end.
So I went to those Old Testament prophets, David and Samuel, to show you that they wrote something that we are still waiting on to happen. So you cannot say the Old Testament is done away with, and you cannot let somebody tell you that. You have to tell them what our sister Melissa said earlier. Read that to me.
To
Okay?
me.
Read that to me. 4 words, because people do a lot of talking, but they can't prove what they're saying. They just have heard it so much that they believe it, they repeat it, and they will even defend it, even though they can't prove it. That's unfortunate. What you got, brother Kevin?
That's right. We're going to read that to them. Let's go over to Acts, the 3rd chapter now. Let's continue
Mm-hmm.
laying down the foundation that you just put forth for about this kingdom now. Let's go look at
Mm-hmm.
this thing. Let's go into some very intricate details about this thing. Let's go to Acts, the 3rd chapter. Acts chapter 3. Now, this is after Jesus died, resurrected, and ascended back unto the right hand side of the Father. This
Mm-hmm.
is the book of Acts. This is when Paul and them getting ready to come on the scene shortly. Stephen finna blow the horn shortly. But right now, Peter is doing some speaking here. Let's pick it up in Acts chapter 3 and verse 14. 3 and verse 14. Go ahead and read when you get it.
But ye denied the Holy One and the just, and desired a murderer to be granted unto you.
And that truly happened. Go ahead and read.
and kill the Prince of Life, whom God hath raised from the dead, whereof we are witnesses.
Now, why is he called he's called the Prince of Life, right? We're going to see what all that means down the line. But skip down to verse 17 for me and pick it up, brother. Go ahead.
And now, brethren, I wot that through ignorance ye did it, as did also your rulers. But those things which God before had showed by the
Yes,
mouth
sir.
of all
Some of them did it through. Some of them did it through ignorance, he's saying. But now that you know better, you got to do better. But go ahead and read.
but those things which God before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, that Christ should suffer, he hath so fulfilled.
Wait a minute. He said by all his prophets. Ain't that what you just got through saying, James? That
Mhm.
every last one of them knew about this thing? Go ahead and
Mhm.
read.
Repent ye therefore, and be converted, that your sins may be blotted out, when the times of refreshing shall come from the presence of the Lord.
Oh, when will we be fresh? When the Lord comes. That's what he
Come.
just said, didn't he?
Right.
That's when we can say, ah. Go ahead and read.
And he shall send Jesus Christ, which before was preached unto you,
He was preached unto you prior to this, right here when Peter was talking. Go ahead and read.
whom the heaven must receive until the times of restitution of all things, which God hath
Yes,
spoken
sir.
by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began.
Mhm.
Now he put a holy in front of it to let you know these guys weren't just your average Joe Blow. They were
Mhm.
holy prophets. And he said, spoke since the world began. Go ahead and
Yes,
read.
sir.
For Moses truly said unto the fathers, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me. Him shall ye hear in all things, whatsoever he shall say unto you.
We started off with that in Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter. Now look at us. Ran right back into it, didn't we? To
Mhm.
confirm exactly who that individual was, none other than Jesus the
Yes.
Christ. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass that every soul which will not hear that prophet shall be destroyed from among the people.
So you can be hard headed and close your ears if you want. He said you'll be destroyed. Go ahead and read one more.
Yeah, and all the prophets from Samuel and those that follow after, as many as have spoken, have likewise foretold of these days.
Yes, sir.
And that's what James just did. He went to Samuel. James understand that clearly because he
Mhm.
went to Samuel and read. And he said, and
Mhm.
all the prophets after him too.
Yep.
So now let's move forward and let's go look at what it's gonna look like. Let's go to Zechariah, the
8.
8th chapter. Zechariah chapter 8. Let's go look at what, because he said times of refreshing. Let's see what refreshing look like. Our streets, James pointed out that our streets, the young ones are being killed, murdered, slaughtered, like it ain't nothing.
Mhm.
But let's look at it and see at this particular time, do we got refreshing or do we got mourning? 8 and verse 2. Go ahead and read when you get that.
Thus said the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with
Yes,
great fury.
I was. That's past tense because at this time, he had already beat this world down. And now everybody's in order. Go ahead and read.
Thus said the Lord, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called the city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mount.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thus said the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age.
For very age, mean they're going to be old again. We're going to point that out to you a little bit later.
Hey,
But that
hey,
was
bro,
read
Kevin.
verse 5. Go ahead.
Excuse me, bro, Kevin. What he just read, what the Lord said, I will dwell in Jerusalem. That's the same
Yes,
thing we
sir.
just read that David said in Psalm 132. The Lord
That's
say
right.
is he desired to be his habitation. But the preacher telling you that you gonna go to heaven when all over the book it's talking about the Lord coming here, and then you can go see in Revelation where the Father's coming here. Okay.
That's right. Absolutely. He said, I will dwell in Jerusalem. But yes, sir.
Yes,
That's a
sir.
good one.
Mm-hmm.
Read verse 5, brother. He said, for very age, old women, old men, and what these kids gonna be doing?
And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof.
Ain't that how it used to be in the summertime?
Yeah,
We
it was.
playing in water and everything. He said it's gonna be like that again, but this time ain't gonna be no drama. Skip down to verse 7 and read what else going on.
Thus said
Verse
the
7.
Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west
Yes,
country, and I will bring
yes,
them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and
yes,
they shall
sir.
be my people, and I will be
Yes.
their God in truth
Uh-huh.
and in righteousness.
I'm gonna be their God in truth and in righteousness, because we still have yet to hit this part of the prophecy. Skip down to verse 13. Verse 13 to read that for us. Go ahead. What else gonna happen?
And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah
Yes,
and house of
yes.
Israel, so will I save you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong.
He said the same way you was a curse, you gonna be a blessing. And I'm gonna be right there with you. Skip down to verse 22 and read. Who else gonna come because you're a blessing? Go ahead and read.
Yeah, many people and strong nations shall come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem and to pray before the Lord.
Go ahead.
Thus said the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you.
We heard that God is with you, and I will be going too.
Woo.
He
Yes,
said, for
sir.
very age. Let's see what that very age look like. Let's go to Isaiah the 65th chapter. Because he told them, hey, they gonna come, them nations gonna be chasing you, but this time it ain't to hurt you. It's because they know a blessing is with you. Let's go to Isaiah 65 and look at that very age and pick it up at verse 17. 65 and verse 17. Go ahead and read when you get it.
For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind.
That's right. Go ahead.
But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy.
Yes. Go ahead.
And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying.
You ain't worried about no ambulance, police cars, gunshots. You ain't got to worry about girls fighting in the streets, grabbing each other hair, and brothers punching each other out. All that's over with. Go ahead and read.
There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not filled his days. For the
Go
child
ahead.
shall die 100 years old, but the
Wait a
sinner
minute. A young 100 years old, he's still a child.
is still a
Today,
child.
a 100-year-old individual can't barely move and walk
That's right. That's right.
because they old, right? Go ahead and
Right.
read.
But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed.
Yes, sir.
And they
Go
shall
ahead.
build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not
You gonna
build and
finally build houses, and you gonna eat the fruit of your labor, because this is your property on your land. You get to do what you want to do,
Yes.
providing you keeping those commandments. Go ahead and read.
they shall not build, and another inhabit. They shall not plant,
Uh-huh.
and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and
Mm.
mine
Yes,
elect shall
sir.
long enjoy the work of their hands.
Wait a minute. He said the days of a tree. We know trees be around for years.
Yes.
Right.
That's why we pointed that out for very age. And now we got a witness, the prophet that says it's going to be like the days of trees. Skip down to verse 25 to show you this is in the future in a different time period because this is not happening. Verse 25, go ahead.
The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be
Yes,
the
sir.
serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor
Uh-huh.
destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord.
That's a good one there.
He said, ain't nothing gonna happen in my holy mountain. He said them animals gonna be eating straw and everything that they was eating when Adam was running the show before they even dealt with the tree that he told them to abstain from. Let's go to Genesis, the 5th chapter, real quick to point out the years that these people lived to. In case you knew, you'll be able to see this with your own eyes. The years that our people used to live to before the Lord cut us down years to 120 and then 70. So now, Genesis 5, pick it up at verse 1 and then we're going to skip.
This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him.
Skip down to verse 4. Let's get into the ages now. Go ahead.
And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters.
Can y'all imagine living 800 years? Man, that's a long time. But read verse 5.
And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died.
Woo, 70 short of 1,000, but we know why that is.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on coming. We'll bring that out one day. Skip down to verse 14 and read for me.
And
verse 8. I'm sorry. Verse 8. Verse 8. Yeah, I skipped it. My bad. Verse 8.
And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died.
Even his son, 912 years. And he actually died, right? Skip down to 14 and let's see somebody else that's got some long years. Go ahead.
And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died.
2 less than Seth. So now skip down to verse 17 and let's look at another one. Go ahead.
And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died.
So when y'all out there and y'all see some trees that been around for a long time, the trees got some hundreds of years on them. We just don't know it because we wasn't there when it was planted. Skip down to verse 12. Verse 27 and read that.
And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died.
Okay, let's go to one more place and then we're going to pass it back over to James. Let's go to Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, because when he come down, this is how he going to come down when he take that same kingdom that James pointed out to you. He got to take this thing by force. It ain't like they just going to hand it over. Hey, Jesus, okay, we're going to scoot on over and you got your rightful place.
Nope.
Nah, he going to take this thing by force. Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 2, and we're going to read 16. Then we're going to turn it over to James. 3 and verse 2. Let's see what let's read the top half of 2, and then we're going to move. Go ahead.
O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid.
Wait a minute. So he heard his speech and he was what?
Afraid.
Mm-hmm. Now let's look at why. Let's just read verse 16 now. Verse 16. Go ahead.
When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops.
He gonna invade this earth with his troops. And guess what he just told us? He said in the day of trouble. So that ain't a day where it's gonna be peaceful and ain't handing it over. So now I'm gonna send it back over to Brother James.
Yes, sir, brother. Let's go right into Revelations chapter 22, because all night we've been pointing out that the prophets wrote some things and they have happened, or they are happening now, or they are definitely going to happen.
Yes, sir.
You can accept it and you don't really have to, but the truth is the truth. And that's what we're here reading to you. If you believe this Bible is the word of God, then you should be eating these words we're reading to you this evening. All prophecy must be fulfilled. Don't let somebody take this Old Testament from you. Read it and inform yourself, okay? Get that
Yes,
weather
sir.
storm forecast, if you will. So now, Revelations 22, Brother Todd, let's pick it up at that verse 7. Now look at these red letters. This is Jesus talking here. Revelation 22 and 7. Go ahead and read it.
Behold, I
Yep.
come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book.
Ooh, y'all see that? He say, blessed is the
Yes,
one
sir.
that keep the sayings of the prophecy of this book. Because there's prophecy in here, okay? Now, you have
That's
to
right.
read it, get you some understanding about it, and prepare yourself for what is coming. Now, skip on down to verse 12, my brother, and read it.
And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be.
Now, people will say you're not going to be judged according to your works. And what Jesus saying something different right here.
That's
He
right,
said,
brother.
he's saying he's going to reward you according to your works. You have to understand that works and works of the law is two different things, okay? He's saying you getting judged according to your
That's
works.
right.
Skip down to 14 and read that, brother.
Blessed are they that do his commandments,
Why?
that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city.
Do y'all see that? He said if you keeping them commandments, you get the rights to the tree of life. And if you let a preacher fool you into thinking you don't have to keep them, and the Old Testament done away with, you don't get rights to the tree of life. And the only other spot you could be if you don't have access to the tree of life is in that lake of fire burning with brimstone, okay? And worms eating you.
That's
That's the
right.
only other spot you can be if you don't have access to the tree. But he's saying you got to keep them commandments to get that. Okay, skip down, my brother,
That's right.
to verse 18 and continue.
For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book.
Mm-hmm.
If any man shall add unto these things,
Mm-hmm.
God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book.
Go ahead.
And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book.
So look, this wasn't the first time it was written in this Bible that you can't take from these
Yes,
words
sir.
and you can't add to them. But we read right here. Let's flip on back to Deuteronomy chapter 4 while I'm running my mouth. Listen, verse 19 says that if any man take away from the word of the book of this prophecy, you lose your spot in the book of life if you had a spot. That's if you had a
That's
spot in
right,
there.
brother.
You see? So you got to run from these preachers that's not operating according to this book. You got to run from them. They they
That's right.
they they take they take um they take these commandments off the table because they want to take the Sabbath day off the table. So what they do is they throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, that's what they doing. Because you can't find written in this Bible one time where it say go to church every Sunday. If you do,
Nope.
inbox me. I'll send you $1,000. That is
That's right,
inbox me.
brother.
But I know it ain't in there. Every Sunday is not in this Bible. So you keep on running up in that Sunday church, and when the Lord split them clouds, you realize you've been playing church. You better hope He have some patience for you to get your head right, and you better hope it's not too late for you. Okay. So now we see that you can't take away from this word or add to it. So now let's go to Deuteronomy 4, Brother Todd, and pick it up at that first verse. Deuteronomy 4 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto
Mm-hmm.
the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you.
So listen, the reason you can read about Israel all over this Bible, brothers and sisters, because they wrote it from the front to the back. And the Lord dealt with them when he brought them out there in the wilderness, when he brought them out of Egypt. He gave them his law, statutes, and judgments, made a covenant with them, and they were supposed to take everything they got and teach to the rest of the world. That didn't happen. That's where you got,
Yes,
that's why
sir.
we have that's why we have all this stuff that's not in the Bible. We have Sunday churches. We have going to heaven. We have eat whatever you want to. We have the law done away with. We have the Old Testament done away with. We have all of these things that's not in this book. We got Santa Claus, not in here. Easter bunny rabbits, not in here. Egg hunts, not in here. Sunday school, not in here. Purgatory, not in this Bible. Everything you got is not in
That's
this
right.
book because the teachers of this Bible fell off of their job, and the Lord is busting our heads for that. And we have let
That's right.
everybody else give us whatever they made up in their imagination, and we can't find any of it in this Bible. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't look in the mirror, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, if you listening to this video or watching it, if you don't look in the mirror and ask yourself honestly and truthfully, are the things I do and believe written in this Bible, you are wasting time and you are fooling yourself because you got to ask yourself that question. The things I believe and the things that I do, are they written in this Bible? And you need to go in there and look for yourself. Don't take my word. Don't take Ty's word. Don't take Brother Kevin's word. Go in there and look for
That's
yourself.
right.
And if you need some
That's
help
right.
looking, call me, text me. I'll send you some scriptures to go show you what's written in this book. Okay? Or you need to find the nearest Israeli God to your house, and go to it on the Bible Sabbath day, the day Jesus went to the church, the day Paul went in there, the day everybody in this book looked upon and observed. Okay,
That's right.
it's the
That's
weekly
right.
Sabbath,
Yes,
which
sir.
is Saturday. That's when you have a holy convocation, not on the first day of the week, Sunday. Deuteronomy 4:1, my brother. Go ahead and read it.
We have verse 2.
Oh, okay, verse 2. Go ahead.
You shall
Yes,
not
sir.
add you shall not add unto the word which I command you,
Mm-hmm.
neither shall ye diminish aught from it,
Mm-hmm.
that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you.
See, Moses wrote it right here, and then we saw it written right back there in Revelations, okay? And Jesus told you, as Brother Kevin went there in John chapter 5, that Jesus told you that Moses wrote of him, and that you don't, if you don't believe Moses writing, then you ain't gonna believe what Jesus saying. Because what Moses
That's
wrote, the
right.
Lord gave it to him, okay?
Mhm.
Moses didn't make this stuff up. Only thing Moses made up was a written divorce. I don't see you throwing that in the garbage can. All you
They
divorcees.
love that one.
They love that one. And that's the one Moses came up with. The Lord didn't come up with that one. So now, skip down, Brother Todd, to verse 5 and continue.
Behold, I have
Mm-hmm.
taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye
Mm-hmm.
should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Go ahead.
Keep therefore and do them.
Why?
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations,
Mm-hmm.
which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Uh-huh.
For what nation is there so great, who have God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?
Y'all see that? No other nation under the sun can say the Lord came down and spoke to all of them at one time. Nobody can say that.
That's right.
The Japanese can't say it. The Nigerians can't say it. The French can't say it. Nor the Russians, the English, the Canadians, the Philippines, the Chinese, the Ethiopians. Nobody can say that except our ancestors. Okay, and
That's right, brother.
that's why we getting punished so bad. Is because they made an agreement with him. They told Moses, you tell him everything he say we gonna do. Then they told Joshua the same thing. Joshua, how can we not serve him? He brought us out of Egypt. And Joshua said, okay,
That's right.
let Let heaven and earth be a witness right here. We can go read, and then Joshua say, "You witnesses against your own selves that
That's
you
right.
went into this covenant and that you agreed, and then you turn around and broke it, and that's why we over here in the United States." Okay. And as we read in that one history book, you got
That's
scattered
right.
throughout all the Mediterranean, and you got put in them slave ships. Now you everywhere because you despise the word of the Lord, and your kids getting shot down in the street, and you don't know what to do to get up out of it. But let's go down to verse 9 and read that, my brother. Go ahead and read it.
Only take heed to thyself
Mm-hmm.
and keep thy soul diligently, lest
Mm-hmm.
thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and
Mm-hmm.
lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But
Mm-hmm.
teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
So all this Bible, all the Old Testament, all the New Testament, brothers and sisters, this is one word. It's two testament, but it's one word. But the Old Testament prophet wrote everything that you need to know about what has happened, what is happening now, and what is going to come and happen. They wrote it, and you got to believe it when you read it. So now, and then you got to teach it to your children and your children's children. So now let's go Jeremiah 25, and then I just have one more spot after that. Let's go Jeremiah 25, and let's pick it up at verse 30. Because you can't take from this word and you can't add to it. All these, all these Old Testament prophets wrote, and it's good to go. Jeremiah 25 and 30. Go ahead and read it, brother.
Therefore prophesy thou against them all these words,
Mm-hmm.
and say unto them, the Lord shall roar from on high,
Mm-hmm.
and utter his voice from his holy habitation.
So now we talking something that has not happened yet. This is when the Lord get ready to come back to this earth. Go ahead and read.
He shall mightily roar upon his habitation.
Mm-hmm.
He shall give a shout, as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth.
Go ahead.
A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. For the
Mm-hmm.
Lord have a controversy with the nations.
Do y'all see that? See, this hasn't happened yet. This Old Testament prophet Jeremiah wrote this. The Lord showed it to him, and he's writing it, okay? He's saying the Lord gonna come against all the inhabitants of the earth. He said a noise gonna come even to the ends of the earth. He said because the Lord have a controversy with the nations, and he does because all of you serving false gods on the wrong day, and you got ain't nobody doing holy days. You doing holidays that man have made up over time. But the days in the Bible that the Lord gave you, you don't want to observe those. And they tell you about God's plan. If you know them and understand them, then you understand God's plan for this man. But the other stuff don't teach you nothing about God's plan. You telling your children that a fat dude in a red suit got deer that fly and hid in every house in one night to bring them gifts. You telling your kids that ain't got nothing to do with the Lord. And I'm talking absolutely nothing. But you doing it.
That's right.
But you can't
That's
do the
right.
Feast of Tabernacles, which is about God's plan for this man, and even the time that He gave this man to be on this earth in his flesh and blood body. But you don't want to deal with that.
That's
But go ahead and read, brother.
that's right, brother.
He will plead with all flesh. He will
Mm-hmm.
give them that are wicked to the sword, said the
Yes.
Lord.
Yes.
Thus said the Lord of hosts,
Mm-hmm.
behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation,
Yes.
and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth.
See, all this stuff we talking about, none of this stuff has happened yet. None of it has happened yet. But the prophet wrote it, and it must come to pass. Go ahead and read.
And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth.
You mean sweet Jesus gonna do all this killing, bro Todd?
Yes, he will.
You see that?
Yes,
And
sir.
he's gonna do it. He say, and the slain of the Lord shall be at that day when he come back to clean his earth up from one end to the other. This ain't happened yet. Sweet Jesus gonna split them clouds and start cleaning up. Go ahead and read, brother.
They shall not be lamented,
Mm-hmm.
neither gathered nor buried.
It's gonna be so many dead bodies when your family members die, you can't even cry over them because you're gonna be running for cover. You're not gonna have time to
Yeah.
gather them up because you're running for cover, and you definitely ain't gonna have time to bury them because you're running for cover. And you looking for that crazy sister that used to work with you that was trying to tell you about all these things, but you didn't listen to her. Now you looking for her. Now you can't find her. Or you looking for that brother that lived across the street from you
Right.
that was trying to tell you about putting them pork ribs on your grill, but you ain't gonna listen to him. He trying to tell you to come to
That's
church
right.
with him so you can learn this book, but he crazy. Now you looking for him,
Right.
so you can't cry over your dead family members. You can't gather them up, and you can't bury them. Go ahead and read, brother.
They shall be dung upon the ground.
How about that? Go ahead and read.
Howl, ye shepherds, and cry,
Mm-hmm.
and wallow yourselves in the ashes,
Mm-hmm.
ye principal of the flock.
Now y'all know who we talking about when we say shepherds and principals of the flock. We talking about these preachers. Let's let an Old Testament prophet tell you what's
That's
gonna
right.
happen to these dudes. Right? What'd you say, bro, Kevin?
I said, yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir.
So look, so he's saying, how you preachers, you shepherds, and cry and wallow yourselves in the ashes, ye principals of the flock, you minister, pastors, bishops, whatever you want to call yourself, reverends. When the Lord tell you reverend is his name, how you call yourself reverend? But anyway, you principal of the flock. Why is that, brother Todd?
For the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are accomplished,
So some slaughtering preachers is gonna happen. Some preachers getting slaughtered is coming. Go ahead and read.
and ye shall fall like a pleasant vessel.
Yes, sir. You gonna fall like a pleasant
Yes.
vessel. Hey, did y'all see that movie with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, where Chris Tucker was in there and he's fighting these dudes and all these precious tall vases was trying to fall and Jackie Chan trying to save all of them, but don't nobody else care about breaking them. Hey, the Lord say, hey, these preachers gonna fall like a pleasant vessel because you've been lying to the people, you've been picking their pockets, you've been reading them one verse and giving them sermons, and you ain't been teaching them no Bible. Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
And the shepherd shall have no way to flee,
Do y'all see that? Say the preachers ain't gonna have nowhere to run in this day right here. Now Jeremiah talking about this. Go ahead and read.
nor the principal of the flock to escape.
Go ahead.
A voice of the cry of the shepherds,
Hmm.
and an howling of the principal of the flock
We keep
shall.
seeing shepherds and we keep seeing principle of the flock. We talking about these false preachers. The Lord got something special for these cats. Go ahead and read.
Shall be heard, for the
Hmm.
Lord hath spoiled their pasture.
Who gonna do that?
The Lord doing it.
He ain't done it yet, but
The
when he come
Lord.
back, he's gonna definitely do that. Go ahead, one more verse, brother.
And the peaceable habitations are cut down because of the fierce anger of the Lord.
Because when he come back, he got some house cleaning to do, and he's gonna do it. And we see right here, one prophet said this gonna happen to the preachers. Let's go see if Zechariah agree with Jeremiah. Let's go Zechariah 13. Cause Moses told you out of the mouth of two or more witnesses, and Paul told you out of the mouth of two or three witnesses. Okay, let's see if we can get another witness to Jeremiah. Zechariah 13 and 2, brother. 13 and 2. If the prophets wrote it,
Hey, James.
ladies, yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir,
was
bro.
just gonna say, hey, y'all, just don't forget, Habakkuk also agreed because he said his belly trembled, and he wanted to be at rest in that day when
Just
he
like
invaded
Job.
the earth with his troops. And now James, and now James is pointing out why, because these shepherds getting whooped on, and everybody else that don't agree with the God plan. Go ahead.
But look, but the shepherds getting whooped on because the people coming to him saying, you lying in the name of the Lord to the people. You haven't been teaching the people.
That's
That's
right.
why the preachers gonna
Lead
get
us.
killed. But see, Job
Yep.
and Habakkuk's talking about it like this gonna be such a great and terrible time. Don't nobody gonna want to witness it if you actually got a real bird's eye view of vision of all the destruction that's going on. You gonna rather that you was in the grave and then the Lord just call your name and wake you up and give you your chain because you don't want to be alive when this stuff come through because it's gonna be a terrible time. But as far as these
Yes.
preachers going, the time coming where the people gonna be tired of the preachers not teaching them, not preparing them, and lying to them and picking their pockets. And that's what this
That's
is.
right.
The Lord gonna deal with these dudes, and the people gonna get them. Okay. So now we just read what Jeremiah say. Let's go Zechariah 13 and pick it up at verse 2. 13 and 2. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass in that day, said the
Mm-hmm.
Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and
Mm-hmm.
they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land.
Yes.
And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophesy, then his father and his mother that begot him shall say unto him, Thou shalt not live.
Uh-oh. Y'all see that? Here come the preacher.
Thou sh-
His mom and his daddy say, you can't live no more. Why is that, brother?
For thou speakest lies in the name of the Lord.
So anybody that's telling you the weekly Sabbath day, which we call Saturday, which is the seventh day of the week, the person that's telling you that we don't have to do that no more, then ask and then telling you the law done away with, then why you keeping a Sunday law? Why I got to go to church every Sunday? Why you won't tithe from me if the law done away
That's
with?
right.
Why if I go steal them tithes, you'll call the police on me if the law done away with? Huh? But all these preachers that's lying to you and playing church and picking your pocket, this is their end right here. Go ahead and read, brother.
And his father and his mother that begot him shall thrust him through when he prophesied.
You see that your mama and your daddy for these false prophets gonna cut them off for lying to the people. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed every one of his visions when he
Mm-hmm.
hath prophesied. Neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive.
See, they ain't gonna break out all these what's the TD fake specials. You understand what I'm saying? These long gowns with the flashy garments and all that. You see, I mean, I'm up here in a t-shirt, but I know what this book say, and I can teach you this book, and I can show you how to get salvation. I ain't got to wear no $4,000 suit and drive a Bentley. You understand what I'm saying? I can
That's
ride a
right.
bicycle, have on some Miami Beach shorts and a t-shirt with some flip flops, and I ain't got to ask you for a dime, and I'm coming through the door, and I can teach you this Bible. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
he said, look here. He said, Brother Todd, start that verse 4 over. Go ahead and read it.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed every one of his vision when he hath prophesied. Neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive.
Mm-hmm.
But he shall say, I am no prophet. I am an husbandman. For man taught me to keep cattle from my youth.
Somebody gonna run up on him and say, hey man, ain't you that preacher that over there at the Mount Olive Ebenezer whatever these thousand name churches? And he gonna be like, no man, I'm a husbandman. I keep cattle over here. You see? So what they gonna say to him when he try to lie his way out of the fact that he's a preacher? What he gonna say, brother?
And one shall say unto him, What are these wounds in thine hands?
So why you got these wounds on your hand? Defensive wounds, that is. Go ahead and read.
Then he shall answer, Those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends.
Y'all done watched verse 48 before.
That's right, brother.
You done seen verse 48. Why you got these defensive wounds, man? Or why you got cuts on your hand when somebody over there got stabbed to death and the knife was found with you? Now you got cuts on your hand. Okay? So they asking the preacher, why you got these cuts on you? Go ahead and read, my brother.
Awake, O sword, against
Mm-hmm.
my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, said the Lord of hosts.
Do y'all see that? The Lord is saying, awake, O sword. The Lord is saying this, people. This has not happened yet. The Old Testament prophet wrote it. Jeremiah wrote it. Now we're reading Zechariah. It's going to happen. He said, awake, O sword, against these preachers. Go ahead and read, brother.
Smite the shepherd,
Smite the
and,
shepherd.
and the sheep shall be scattered,
Mm-hmm.
and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones.
Do y'all see that, brothers and sisters? We're
Yes,
pointing
sir.
out to you that all prophecy must be fulfilled. If the Old Testament prophet wrote it, it's going to happen. And I know y'all done seen a couple of cases over the last few years. I know one recently in Texas. Young dude run up in the church and shot up the church, shot that preach up. Okay, it's happening. But
Yes,
anyway, I ain't trying to scare nobody, but hey, it's just a reality. The prophets wrote it. It's going to happen. So when it does happen, you won't be surprised. No, no, Sister Melissa, the Lord does not love everybody, but that's what they get told, and they got that false sense of security. And I'm gonna tell you something. There are very few things worse than a false sense of security. But what you got, brother Kevin?
Okay, dang, I ain't know you been doing that fast. You rolled through this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go on ahead to Isaiah chapter 2. We're just gonna cap it on off with some of the same thing. So now, what they finna learn now, let's go to Isaiah chapter 2. And let's pick it up at verse 1. Now, the Lord set up his kingdom. And these shepherds that was feeding, like James pointed out, they ain't gonna be doing none of that no more. In fact, let's look at what we finna be doing right here. 2 and
Excuse me,
verse
bro, Kevin. Excuse me one
just
second, bro, Kevin. Odessa Pfizer want to know if we back on every Friday, but we will be back on next Friday though.
that's
We'll be
right.
back next Friday.
Next Friday, yes, sir.
Hmm.
But go ahead. Verse 1. Go ahead.
The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he
Oh,
shall
so at this time, let's see what the people gonna be doing. That's verse 4. Go ahead. Verse 4.
and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke
Yes,
many
sir.
people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
All the war weapons, they don't have them no more. Let's go on over to Isaiah, the 14th chapter. But you see, all the nations,
Right.
they had to get their light definitely from the Lord too. The law, it says. So Isaiah the 14th chapter. So if the law was done away with, he would be saying that right now. But the Lord is saying that law gonna flow from Jerusalem. So now, 14th chapter and verse 1, and then we're gonna skip to verse 3. 14 and 1, then verse 3. Go ahead.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Yes,
And it
sir.
shall,
Skip down to
and,
verse 3 now.
and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve.
Give us rest. Yes, that's what we want. What we gonna do, brother? Go ahead and read verse 7.
The whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth in the singing.
Wait a minute. The people gonna be singing? Yeah, let's go to
Yeah.
Proverbs, the 29th chapter. Because now Solomon's going to tell us why they singing. Because at first, it wasn't like that. Let's see what it was like prior to them singing. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. When you get it, go ahead and read that.
When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the
Uh-huh.
wicked, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
Oh, so we see
Hmm.
why they was rejoicing. Because the righteous in authority, Jesus Christ, and he dealing with that law. And guess what? And you got the prophets now and the rest of the teachers. They are speaking. They are teaching. So now let's go on over to let's go on over to chapter Isaiah the sixth chapter. Let's go on over there. Because he done took down those that was ruling in evil and wickedness.
Yes,
Where the
sir.
people
Here
were
come that
mourning.
whirlwind. Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Isaiah 66 and verse 15. Let's look at another prophet that backs up the other one. The book tells us the prophets are subject to the prophets. Everybody gonna agree. They're gonna be on one accord, just like James showed y'all. Jeremiah, Zechariah, so on and so forth. So now, 66 and 13, go ahead. I mean 15, sorry, go ahead.
For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by
Yes,
fire
sir.
and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Gonna be a lot of them get killed because some of them ain't gonna want to walk according to that them commandments. Go ahead and read.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, said the Lord.
That's what James was pointing out, telling y'all they're gonna be looking for the guy he was once telling at that time. Don't put this on your grill. Don't put that pork on your grill. Guess what? You get caught doing this at that particular time, the Lord said He gonna deal with you. And the abomination,
Yes,
and the mouse, because that is a delicacy in a lot of the world away from over here. But now, skip down to verse 23 and read verse 23.
And it shall come to
What
pass
they
that from one
go ahead.
new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, said the Lord.
Also, when they coming up there to get that law, you dealing from one Sabbath to another, and from one new moon to another. In other words, from 1 month to another. Everybody's getting their marching orders. Read verse 24. What else they finna see, brother?
And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh.
Ooh, the man. He said the carcasses. That's them two. You got the spiritual leader, and then you got that old military guy. So now let's deal with Zechariah, the 14th chapter, because he told you from every new moon, and then he told you from one Sabbath to another, right? What else what else they gonna be going up there doing? Let's go to Zechariah, the 14th chapter. It's a feast day that James just got through mentioning, y'all, because this feast day means something.
Yes, sir.
If you ain't keeping it now, you'll be keeping it later if you're around. Zechariah, the 14th chapter, and pick it up at verse 16. 14 and verse 16. Go ahead and read, brother.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
The same one that they said is the Jews' feast that
Right.
we ain't got to
Right.
keep,
Right.
but we can keep Christmas, we can keep Easter, we can keep all of that. Go ahead and read.
And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain.
Oh, if you don't get no rain, your crops don't get fed, you thirsty, and you can't take a bath and none of the other things you want to do with that water. Go ahead and read.
And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So you ain't gonna do your own thing in your land. Go ahead and read.
This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So if you ain't keeping it now, you will be later. And now, there you have it. All prophecy must be fulfilled. This is a part of that prophecy. They got to be fulfilled just as well. The monthly, from one new moon, month to month, and from one Sabbath to another, even the feast days in its season, you got the tabernacle. He said he gonna call you, and if you don't come, you got a punishment. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn it back on over to my brothers. Hey y'all, I hope y'all got something from it, and I thank y'all for tuning in, man, with us.
All righty. What say you, brother Todd?
Man, y'all brothers made that lesson so plain. I mean, it shouldn't be nothing said, no questions asked. You know what I'm
Praise God.
saying? Yes, sir. Enjoyed it as always.
Yes, indeed.
Well, the point that we were trying to make here was the people don't do enough research and reading and studying for themselves. They just get comfortable in saying, well, that person studied, I'll just let them tell me what they found out. But the person that's telling you sounds good, so you repeat it, you believe it, you defend it, you stand on it, you live it. But when it comes time for you to prove it or show it to somebody in the book, you can't do it.
That's right.
Just like we read in one spot where the people gonna be ashamed. That's where you find yourself when you can't prove what you're doing in this Bible, when you get caught in a Bible conversation. So the whole thing is the Old Testament isn't done away with. The law is not done away with. It depends on which law you're talking about. Yeah, the animal sacrifice law. You don't see people sacrificing animals no more. That law is gone. But God's commandments are good. His instructions for us to keep these feast days still alive and still intact. So, and the things that to prove that that stuff is still good, the Old Testament prophets wrote some things that's still happening right now, and they wrote some stuff that hasn't even started to happen yet. So you can't allow somebody to run their mouth and tell you the Old Testament is not to be read and you don't deal with it. And that was the whole purpose of this lesson. The Lord is still the Lord God right now. He did not retire. He did not resign. His words are alive. They are spirit and they are life. And you need to grab a hold on to them and get into it for yourself and stop letting people mislead you with words they just run their mouth with that lip service.
Right. Hey James, you made a point that I just want to
Said
see
this
if we
lesson
go.
removed all wiggle room.
Yeah.
Right. You made a point that I want to just add a
What
scripture
point?
to. When you said that this book is going to be proving people to be found a lie, when they saying those things. The second you
Mm,
open up the book, you got somebody either teaching you or you reading it and you find out you lying. I just want to read one verse over in Proverbs, the 30th chapter,
go ahead.
and verse 6.
Proverbs 30 and
30
6.
and 6.
Yes, sir.
Add
Yes,
thou
sir.
not,
Mm-hmm.
add thou not unto his words, lest he reprove thee and thou be found a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because they've been adding
Mm-hmm.
all this time. God
Mhm.
love everybody. You
Mm-hmm.
can eat what you want. Just pray over it. His birthday on December the 25th. Love, peace, and goodwill to everybody on the face of this earth, and all other things that they add that has nothing to do with the book. And the book finds you alive when you go read, and you don't find December the 25th. He actually tell you in remembrance of him, keep the Passover in this season,
Man,
according
I'm
to
gonna
the
tell you,
book.
right.
Mhm.
Hey man, this world so upside down, brother. It's crazy, man. It's actually very disappointing, man. And the people gotta stop letting letting these preachers and other people and family members and people deceive them with this word, man. And it's unfortunate, as I said, we just have to do lessons like this. We have to do them.
That's right.
But next
Mhm.
week we'll try to bring y'all something better.
Andrea Brown. Yeah, sister, we got brother Asaph from ATL is gonna be in Baton Rouge this weekend.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So if that's it, hey, we can call it quits. Oh,
Alrighty.
let me put this up here, y'all. Hey, oh, it's already up there, but let me put the title back up there for people so they understand. The Lord put that on James Hart to come up with that title. And hey, man, I follow suit. Wherever I'm called, I follow suit. So all prophecy must be filled. Hey, y'all, go
Mhm.
subscribe to the channel, click like, and share. Please just share these things because we coming up on some holidays.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you really gotta get this out there so somebody can stop doing what they finna get ready and get involved in.
Hey,
Yeah.
look here, bro.
That's
Yeah,
right.
because the mortgage is not getting ready to be paid.
That's right.
Somebody's not gonna pay mortgages and car insurance so they can buy Christmas presents, man. It's crazy, man.
Man.
Woo. Anyway,
Wow.
woo. And don't act like we just making up stuff. People do that.
They do
Okay, they
all the
do,
time.
and have the nerve to
That's it.
ask you, somebody who don't even deal with that folly, to lend them some money till they get their income tax check.
Mhm.
They dealing with something that's not even in the book. Man, your 4-year-old know that a deer cannot fly.
Mm.
Anyway, so let's go. Yeah, yeah, they gotta get that stuff
Got
out of layaway.
oh,
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, brother, cause I gotta early get up in the morning for the family over there in the UK.
all right. It said you better preach. Yes, indeed. That's what we do. Great lesson. All right, y'all. We're gonna say peace and blessings. Lord
Peace
willing,
and
see
blessings, much
y'all.
love.
Lord willing, see y'all next week. Hey, have a great time in class tomorrow too. Get fed.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Peace, everybody.
All
Peace,
right,
brothers.
family. Peace, y'all.
Peace, everybody.
Enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.